genius, but if you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, it will live its whole life believing that it is stupid. What does that mean to you? Amin?
You said there's people by one skill, what their best type of status.
Okay, so you shouldn't judge people by one skill or one type of skill, but you should look at what are they best at. Everybody's got something that they're strong at, that is their intelligence. Chloe?
Oh, I was going to say, everyone is smart in their own way.
Everybody's smart in their own way, right? And you've heard me talk about this a lot this year, about the fact that school is set up in a particular way to value a certain kind of intelligence. That if you happen to be born with a brain that's wired to learn best through reading and writing, lucky you. Because you get to come to a place every day that's pretty much built for you. And if you weren't born that way, then everything's a little bit harder for you. And you have to try to learn it in a different way, in a way that you're not wired for. And so what I want to do is I wanted to point that out to you because it's something I believe in very strongly, and it's a message I want you all to hear. But I also want you to take some time and answer the question that I wrote up there on the bottom. And I think a lot of times you may hear people say things like, well, how intelligent are you? How smart are you? Or you may get that message from other people, that they're judging how smart you are. But I was reading a book recently where the author said that's the wrong question. The question isn't how smart are you or how intelligent are you, but the question is how are you intelligent? In what way are you intelligent? Like Chloe and Amin said, there are many different ways that a person can be smart. But not all of those ways are valued by the society that you live in and the places that you have to go and exist every day. So for the next 10 minutes, I want you to do a quick write, and I want you to just brain dump, just write and write and write about all of the ways that you feel intelligent and when you feel your smartest. What are you doing when you feel that you're shining? Open your mind and think outside the box. Don't stay confined to the regular definitions of what we think intelligence is. When do you shine? When do you feel at your best, at your smartest, at your most intelligent, at your strongest? 10 minutes, go ahead. Find a way to wrap up your thoughts.
Without knowing it, this quote is being welded into
our minds. Only some of us are lucky enough to say we are talented, and we're not stupid. But all the other ones sit there like the fish in Einstein's quote, staring at the tree, believing they will never be good enough. Those fish will sit there for their whole lives if they never get taught that instead of climbing a tree, they can swim. They can prove that they can do something. Maybe the kids who were the monkeys sprinted up the tree, but the fishes beat them in the water. This is not a way we are taught, though. In school, we sit down at desks and we read textbooks and we take notes of a presentation. If your brain is wired to be taught through reading and writing, then you're lucky. School is built for you. You're the monkeys who will sprint up that tree and be looking down at the other ones, wondering why they can't. The fish are the visual learners, audio learners, and the vast majority of the kinesthetic learners. They will believe that their brain was not right and that they are less than the others, because until a teacher comes along and shows them that they can swim, they will sit there not believing they are just as good, just as intelligent.
Nice. Right on. Yeah, go for it. Yes, sir. What about you?
Okay, well, I may not know how to solve an equation, and I may not know how to, do like just math, okay? But I'm intelligent in music, and I'm intelligent in art, and I'm intelligent in understanding music, and I'm intelligent in dancing.
Absolutely. And it's so important that you own that you recognize and you know yourself and you claim it for your own, and that you send the message out there to the world that it is not worth less than being intelligent in traditional school. Being intelligent in traditional school ways is wonderful, but so are all these other ways of being intelligent. And one of my missions all year has been to make you hear that message and understand that it is not valued any less, because it feels like it is. Because like Maud said, you come to a building every day that is built for a particular kind of learner. And those of you who aren't wired that way can start to feel kind of beaten down and valued less. And that's absolutely a myth. It's not true. And so I wanted to give you some time today to kind of reflect on that and make sure that you have some time to think of all the ways that you are intelligent. Like Wesley said, or like Leo said, I might not be able to name all the countries of the world in alphabetical order, and maybe I can't solve an equation, but that's only one of the so many ways that you can be intelligent, and it's great that you're claiming yours for your own. Okay, today we're going to start our novel study unit. You got your novels last class and you started reading them this weekend, and you're all going to be slightly in different places within that novel right now, and that's okay. Here's what today's going to look like. We're going to take a quick peek at the big idea and the essential question for this new unit. Talk about those. Talk about what empathy is, because it features prominently in our essential question. And you're going to need to be able to respond to that thoughtfully after you finish your novels. I'm going to explain for those of you who are new to me this year, Riley and Julia and Erica, anybody else, who aren't familiar with the way we did the novel studies rotation stations last year. I'm going to just explain that, and then talk to you a little bit about how you will be summatively assessed during this unit. I think you will be very happy about this. I think you'll feel a bit of relief about when we talk about summative assessments. And then your class time today will be spent setting up your reading schedule. You all have the calendars on your desk, and I've marked the days that you have language arts class. And so you're going to, right now, you're sitting at a table group with your group. This is your novel group. These are the people that you will be grouped with throughout this unit and go through the rotation with and meet with me in the discussion station with. So you're going to come to an agreement on the chapters that you will have prepared for class each day. And then I will come around and copy that down on my master calendar. Any time remaining at the end of class is yours to just start reading, to get going on these books, because we have a bit of a condensed schedule here. And your homework is to just read the assigned pages that your group comes up with today. Okay? So let's take a look at the big idea and the essential question. Can you refresh my memory when we're talking about our units? What is the big idea? What do I mean when I say a big idea for our unit? You said.
Is it the big picture, the overlook on everything?
It's a big picture. It's the overlook on everything. What else? It's, say it again? Not necessarily. It's even bigger than that. When we're talking about a unit, a big idea is the understanding that you can take outside of this classroom. Mira, focus. The understanding that you can take outside of this classroom, something beyond language arts. Yeah.
Didn't we have that big idea before?
Excellent! I'm glad you recognize it. You did have this big idea in 7th grade. We're going to bring it back because it's just that big of an idea. The big idea for us is that authors use literature to make social commentary. Since we did have this once before in 7th grade, any memories? What do we mean by social commentary? When we say authors use their writing to make social commentary? Dylan?
Basically, for example, in the Giver, basically the author is trying to say what the world would be like if everything was controlled and how we have to be more independent, and we can't let like the government or some imposing force control us.
Absolutely. So that's a concrete example from The Giver. Can we bring it back and make it a little more abstract? What is meant by social commentary? Maud?
It's when the author will talk about an opinion that they have about the actual world, but build it into their book to like gently put it into the person's mind. So like if the person is against that idea in the real world, when they read it in a book, they'll see it differently, and they might believe it's stronger,
Yeah.
and then they'll make the connection to the real world maybe, and they'll be like, and their ideas might change.
And that's the hope. You said it very nicely. That's exactly what we mean by that. Okay, so we're going to be looking, all of your books are set during the Holocaust, but from slightly different perspectives, different kinds of main characters and protagonists. So we're going to be taking a look at what is the social commentary that your author's making. Let's take a look at this essential question because it's directly related to what you put over here. We're going to narrow it down from the big idea, and every single one of these books will be anchored together with this essential question. What techniques do authors use to create empathy in their readers? It's related to that social commentary because like Maud said, the author wants you to connect and to feel something with this message. How does an author do that? Dylan, can you drop your screen? You don't need to be on that right now. How does an author create empathy in their reader? And you guys brainstormed over here on the board what you think empathy is. And for the most part, these all say very similar things. Being able to put yourself in somebody else's shoes, and somebody said it really nicely, feeling with someone. Yeah, I noticed that. Empathy is empathy.
Empathy is a word.
Thank you. But being able to feel along with another person. Being able, not just understand, but really feeling it right there along with them. And if I show you, if we jump to our class website, for this particular unit, we've got the big idea and the essential question up top, some important dates that we'll talk about in a second, but if you skip down here, I've got empathy defined for you. It's the ability to imagine oneself in another person's place, to understand and vicariously experience the other's feelings, desires, ideas, and actions. What does vicariously mean? Look it up. Screen's up. Look it up. Vicariously. To vicariously experience what somebody else is feeling, desiring, thinking. To experience in your imagination the feelings of or actions of another person. To experience it in your imagination. Okay, so if you ever had somebody maybe describe an event, experience that they had, you weren't able to be there, but they were describing it in so much detail that you felt like you were living it vicariously through them. So it's almost like a substitute, like you experienced it through someone else's explanation of it. That has a lot to do with empathy. Empathy is a very strong experience that you're feeling right along with someone. So when I was thinking about talking to you about this today, I went and I found a couple pictures online that I thought you might be able to relate to, right? What is that a picture of?
Those little kids were really annoying. I was like screaming on the plane.
How many of you have ever been on an airplane with a screaming kid? Okay? Right now at your table groups, talk about what that feels like. bring that up and you can almost feel it vicariously with those people in those seats. How about this?
Oh, it's very sad.
How does that feel?
Very bad, actually.
If you're not a fan of this particular, but take the team away from it. How many of you can connect to what that feels like? You felt something like that before. What's that? Yeah. What it feels like to score. That elation, that just pure joy, that pride, what that feels like. So I picked these images specifically because I thought many of you would be able to relate to at least one of them. It would bring up a feeling for you. You would empathize with somebody in one of these pictures. You would be able to empathize with what they were feeling at that time. But what we're going to be looking at in this unit is how does an author make you feel along with a character who's experienced something you've never experienced. You don't know what it's like to wake up in a concentration camp. You don't. You haven't lived that. So it's not as easy for you to feel along with a character who is. How does an author do it anyway? For those of you reading The Book Thief, you don't know what it's like to watch your brother die on a frozen boxcar as your mom takes you by train to your foster family that she has to give you up to because she knows she's about to get arrested by the secret police. You have no idea what that's like. But he is going to make you feel it right along with Lisa. How does he do that? So that is our essential question. What's that? Go ahead, what did you say? No, but how does the author make you empathize with her? Come on.
He puts in like a lot of detail, and he really like brings you into the book. Like he really shows you like exactly what's going on, and
I'm the book.
Okay, but Vaughn made a great. So right now you're guessing. You're guessing, and you're thinking that one of the ways is by using rich detail, rich descriptive detail to bring you in. Chloe.
he puts it in the perspective of death.
So maybe choosing your narrator is one technique an author might use to develop empathy. In this case, he chooses death to narrate the story. Yusuf.
The author makes them feel human and less inferior.
Say it again.
The author makes them feel human.
Who?
The person who's getting it.
The main character?
Yeah.
They make them feel more human. How do they do that?
By making it realistic.
Okay, making it realistic. Mustafa.
He uses a lot of metaphors in the book.
Why would metaphors and similes allow you to empathize with a person who's going through something you've never experienced before?
It gives you like a sense of feeling of what's going to happen, like what's happening to you. And like if you don't know if you can't relate to it, if you use a metaphor that you can relate to it.
Yeah, good job noticing that. Okay, so this is what we're going to be focusing on and talking about throughout the unit. You're already twigging to it. You're already noticing these things, but we're going to make you hyper aware of them as we go on through the unit. Okay? So, what I want to talk to you about now, after we're done with that, we've already talked about empathy. I want to just briefly explain how the days are going to roll when you come in. When you come in next class, Dylan, can you drop your screen, please? When you come in next class, these tables are going to be set up in stations, but they're going to be pulled a little bit apart from each other. I will have up here on the whiteboard a list of every group. Book Thief, group number 1, Book Thief, group number 2. Mouse, Milkweed, Boy in the Striped Pajamas. And I'll tell you which station you're starting at. Okay? On the tables, when you come in, you will find little tent cards like this, telling you which each station is. So there'll be a vocabulary station some days. There'll be a journal station every day. And I want you to really be careful at this station because after the novel is finished, you will write a 5-paragraph essay in which you analyze the novel for this question. Every journal prompt I give you will become a paragraph in that particular essay. So if you take the journal station seriously, you're already starting your essay. It's going to make your life a lot easier when we start putting it all together. Yusuf, you locked in?
Yes.
discussions in class. You're not as comfortable sharing your thoughts out loud, but you've got wonderful ideas. You just need a little bit more time to think about them before you're ready to say them. In the Moodle discussion, you're going to be able to sit there at that station for about 15 minutes. I'll have a critical thinking question posted, and you'll be able to write your response and go back and forth with each other people who've responded to it as well. Okay? And there will be a silent reading station that we won't always use silent reading for. I've gotten some great ideas from you about how to improve this process from last year. There will be some times where I will, in the silent reading station, the directions on that table will tell you to go out of the room and do an activity with each other in that study room that we use sometimes down the hall. So there'll be some interactive activities that you will do, and you'll just have to have a timer and be ready to come back in the 15 minutes. Okay? There will always be at your desk, or at these stations, instructions on what to do. All these stations are independent. You don't need me to tell you what to do because it'll be written right there and it'll be on your desk. And you just need to read them as a group. Some of them will be different every day, and you just need to read through what you have to do. The last station is at that back table with me. I will be stationed back there the whole time, and I'll be helping to facilitate the actual discussion of the chapters that you read for today, focusing back on that essential question. Okay? We spend about 15 minutes at every station and rotate around, so you're not going to get bored, you're not going to be in one place for very long. But you do need to have some independence and be able to manage yourself at these stations and actually do the work at each station. Because none of them are fluff, none of them are just filling time. They're all useful. Questions about that? Those of you who are new, does it make sense what I described? To me? Okay. Let's briefly talk about summative assessments. There is one summative assessment grade you're getting for this unit for sure, and it's the listening and speaking grade. And that will be summatively assessed, listen carefully to this, every day is a summative assessment for listening and speaking when you're with me at the table in the back. I'll have a clipboard with me, and I'll be taking notes on how you're doing in the discussion every day, and it all counts. Every single day, your participation at that discussion station with me will be your listening and speaking grade. And I'll show you, actually, could you all do this with me right now? Open your laptops and go to the class website, please. Can you go to the novel study page, please? It's under units of study. Not working? No power? Is it just a power? Do you want to try to plug it in? Did you already try plugging it in and it didn't work? After go, just not right now. Okay, I want you to scroll down to the listening and speaking rubric. And the word rubric is a link. You want novel study. Okay, novel study. Scroll down to where it says summative assessments, listening and speaking. The word rubric is a link. I'd like you to click on that link and it will open the rubric in a Google Doc. Please make a copy. Go to File, make a copy, and put it where? Where are you going to put it?
In our folder.
In your language arts folder in Google Docs. These are the things I'm looking for your listening and speaking grade every time we meet at that discussion station in the back. First one is preparation. This is pretty basic. Are you consistently coming to that discussion having read the chapters you were supposed to have read for that day? Are you prepared to talk about them? That's pretty straightforward. The next one has to do with evidence to support your thinking and your ideas. Are you able to refer to evidence from the text to support your thinking? When you share an idea or a thought or an answer to this question or any of the other questions that comes up, are you able to use evidence to back it up from the book? You're not just saying it like it's a thought, but you're actually able to refer to a specific thing that happened that backs you up. Now, calendars. Drop your screens. Hold those calendars in your hand. Okay, take a look at the calendar and you'll see on today's date, this is the day that we're just kind of starting and introducing the unit. Next class is Tuesday the 14th. That's your first novel study rotation. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 novel study rotations. That's 5 class periods where we will be discussing the reading. You need to have the novel finished by Sunday, May 26th. That's the last one that has a box in it down below. Okay? Your task at your table group is to talk to each other and figure out which chapters you will have read by the time you walk into class on each of these days. So for example, if you write down on Tuesday the 14th, if you write down chapters 1 through 12, that means when you walk into class on Tuesday, you will have finished reading chapter 12. And when we go to the discussion station in the back, I will be prepared to discuss those chapters with you. It doesn't mean that's your homework for the next class. It means that's what you're done with when you walk in the room on that day. Okay? I would think it would be reasonable if you had fewer chapters to read from Tuesday to Thursday than you did from Thursday to Monday. Right? Give yourself more reading to do when you have more days to do it. The last thing I'll say before I let you decide how you're going to break this up and get to the finish day on the 26th